My name's Angela Colantonio. I'm a director and professor at the Rehabilitation Sciences Institute at the University of Toronto, and that's an interdisciplinary doctoral stream program for the rehabilitation sciences. And I'm also a professor in the Department of Occupational Science and Occupational Therapy and a senior scientist at the Toronto Rehabilitation Institute. Well, I was asked to speak on the older adult and sex differences, and this is an area of which is not a lot of research that has been conducted, and particularly in the area of sex differences. And ironically, this is one of the fastest growing segment of our population, or at least the traumatic brain injury population. Whereas some of the rates have gone down for other groups and age groups, it's actually gone up for older adults, and that's mostly due to falls. And some of the highest rates are actually for women in the older age category. We're looking at mild traumatic brain injury. The highest rates are actually for women in older adulthood. Also Medicare, there are data on Medicare recipients. More than half are female in terms of the persons with traumatic brain injury who are Medicare recipients. At least studies have shown that. Also women in the community with a traumatic brain injury receiving home care. And so one of the reasons that we believe there's been this gap in terms of addressing female brain injury is because it's been mostly male. And that is true in the younger population, but not in the older adult population now, where the rates are fairly equivalent. So in general, there are huge gaps just within the older adult population in terms of what are the best treatments, and also with respect to what measures to use, guidelines, and then there's virtually very little addressing sex and gender and the implications of that with respect to evidence-based guidelines. So that's a whole new area that is needed for investigation. Also prevention. Falls are one of the leading causes of brain injury in older adults, and that's particularly so for women. Also the other work that I do is also aging with brain injury. This area, from a sex-specific point of view, has not received a lot of attention. How do women age, particularly mature women? What does that mean in terms of developing conditions that are more common for women, like Alzheimer's disease? We've had some great talks about intimate partner violence and a brain injury, how do repeated hits to the head for a woman, what implications do those hits have for a woman aging with brain injury? Does the person get a higher rate of Alzheimer's disease, for instance? And we know women, there is a high rate for Alzheimer's disease among women. Well, I've seen huge impacts since it started. The first PINK Summit was truly amazing in terms of the scope of the presentations, and also I think what I think is very valuable and is the perspective of people with lived experience. I think it's very valuable. And for me, what I find very validating is that the research is so much valued by people with lived experience, particularly women. Women are really requesting, demanding this information. So I think that's really important. You have a really important role. They were all very special women speaking there, all with different perspectives. I learn a lot from their stories, and it really keeps it all real and reminds us why we do what we do.